All right, I was pretty much more of a Renegade guy myself.
Yeah, but I mean, because let's face it, everyone hates Paragon. No one wants to.
It's true.
Go Paragon in Mass Effect.
It's true.
It's awful. It's
After
boring.
a certain point, you're tired of saving villages, and you want to punch some.
You want to
politician
kick
in
some
the face.
Jawas and punch some politicians. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's right.
Welcome everybody.
Welcome everyone.
Oh my God, so many people just like popping in here.
Yes, I do have hair. Yeah, finally, after like 5 months, I was able to actually get a haircut.
A wonderful haircut indeed, my friend. I'm glad for you.
No more beanies for me.
Yeah, that's true. Renegade is more ineffective than Paragon. That is very true. That is very true.
It is a response to the detestment of the Paragon, but in and of itself, it does not work because it's still just mirroring the thing that people weren't satisfied with in the first place.
Oh, so what you're saying is, Jacob, that in order to find the balance between the two, you need nuance?
Yeah, basically.
Well, it's almost as if characters being not one-dimensional is a good thing.
Yeah.
Or a positive thing. A character's having more than one dimension might be a good idea. Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah.
Okay, we have a lot of new subs and follows coming in here because, we didn't stream it all for a week. And we will be explaining why. Yeah. So stick around for that. But we've got a lot of follows here. Let's read those off first. We've got Pat Wardis, Noventia, Mona Man, Black Rose 1477, Chili 64, Dan Deman 103, Node Buff, K1 Randeep, Fandom Reactions, GS Som, The Fox Rocks 1, Nagato X Uzumaki, King Peggy 104, Blind Man version 2. Thank you so much for the follows.
Yes,
and then we have Eraserhead with the 19 months of Twitch Prime. Epic. I mean, Epoch. EPC.
Epoch, yes.
Rip City 19 with the 10 months of Tier 1 sub. Welcome back.
Good to be back.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Enzarm GS with the 18 months of Twitch Prime. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
It's been a long day without you, my friends, and we'll tell you all about it in this podcast. There we go.
We've come a long way
from where we began.
And we'll tell you all about it in this podcast.
And we're DMCA'd. Whoa! Yeah, exactly. Well done, Mordred. Well done. Shy Monkeys with the Twitch Prime for 14 months.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that voice of that character in a video game. Yep. The NPC that's just like, thank you.
The Paragon, if you will.
Wow. It all's connected. It's all connected.
Very glad to see streams again. Thank you, Shy.
Okay, so no, we are not fathers. There is no child, but we did.
Caleb is not pregnant with Battle Lines 2.
Right. We did end up making something happen between us by investing energy and resources together.
Yep.
So we have a thing. But not a baby.
No.
It's a thing.
Yes.
But it's not a baby.
Correct.
So, how do we want to
do this? Well, I'm not entirely sure, actually.
Right. It's kind of one of those things of where I think people have just expected that this would come eventually, and it's well, yes, so did we eventually, but all the options as to how we would do it, we just really didn't like them.
Well, and also, yes, that was a big one, and also, when we made that Patreon, we had no idea what it would actually mean, a lot of the things that we put on there, but we're starting to make our way through those Patreon goals that we made all those years ago. Boom.
So, guys, we have our own place now where we can record independently
and do
our
whatever
whole
the bloody hell we want
thing there and what we want. And guys, you made this possible. Thank you so much for this.
So much.
We are now going to be able to get started on just the future of the channel.
Yep, we are making an OnlyFans.
Oh my god.
No.
That's why you soundproofed that room. That makes sense now.
Indeed.
No. You see. So, guys, we are legit now. We are a legit YouTube channel.
Yep, that's right.
So So the reason why background Chan, for those of you that are new, welcome. Jacob and I discuss all kinds of stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of really cool growth through YouTube and Patreon and stuff. And we have this thing here.
This wonderful background that has served us so well over the years.
Because we don't have really anywhere to record. Or we haven't for the longest time. We're still in the same area.
Yeah, we're still...
Because we haven't set up internet and all that other stuff.
Surprisingly, for moving like hundreds of gigs of files a week, you need good internet.
Yeah. So that's the main reason why we haven't switched everything over now. But
the majority of the transition
we have a place with segmented, designated areas specifically for recording and doing content.
And I'm sure there will be many growing pains as we figure all of that out, because surprisingly enough, like Background Chan has been here for you guys to protect your virgin eyes from what you would see if you saw behind the curtain. That's why
it's just not worth it.
Yep, that's why the berry reward for seeing behind Background Chan is so stupid high, because no. Like, we've been in one room that we both also sleep in and running the channel out of this entire time.
Yep.
And I cannot tell you, especially with all the all the isolation happening recently because of world events and whatnot, that has really taxing us. Yeah.
So this was something where actually the quarantine motivated us to
be like, we need to do this now,
and
otherwise we're gonna go crazy.
And we did it.
Yeah,
we did it. We don't have anything to show you guys now,
right?
But that will be coming sooner than you'd think.
Yep.
Or no, some of you guys might be thinking really soon. It's coming very soon.
Yeah.
But yes, we live in one room that we both also sleep in. Fanfic notes, they sleep together.
Yes.
You're not wrong, I guess. Technically. Depends on your definition of together, but...
I want to make Oni-chan jokes and things like that, but no, I'm not going to.
Yeah. No, I think what we can put you guys on with a timetable is that we're literally like days from getting the internet set up, hopefully, unless things go really weirdly.
Yeah.
Then we'll have to, in some ways, downgrade a couple things with regards to our setup before we can then upgrade it even crazily enough to be way better than what it was before. But it's all literally just, we have the foundation, now we just need to put stuff in there and just make it happen.
You would not believe how much stuff we've wanted to do over the years where we're like, well, we can't do that because we don't have space.
We don't have space.
Like we just did not have space. Nope. It was a box with 2 beds and 2 different computers.
And you know how much this guy wants to do, like, just a D&D stream?
Oh my god.
You know how much he's wanted to do
Let's
that?
not make any crazy promises.
No. But just the idea of you being like, what? I want to set a table out, and we could, like, we
can actually work on seeing how that would work now.
But it's like, no, we can't do that right now. We just have literally no space. So it's like, okay, now we have space. We're going to be able to do things that might be a little bit more exciting and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, don't hold us to it anytime soon.
Right.
But
I mean, it took us this long to go through.
Right, exactly. But if you know Jacob, you know that even if it's not necessarily going to be, his kind of thing in the initial bit, this is a dream of yours that's been that case for a very long time.
Oh,
yeah. So in terms of the transition, like you're already fully moved in.
Yeah, but
pretty much.
We still haven't set up internet.
Yeah. So, and then we're basically just using this place as the temporary spot that we have. For this.
It's a transition,
but it's a transition.
There's a lot of things that needs to get set up and moved over and things like that. But
yeah. Yep. Why are you guys freaking out about a toothbrush scene? Why would that? No.
Hey, Caleb, that could be the first thing that we do in the new place. No,
you just brush your own teeth. You're like, well,
no, because you need all the different cameras set up and the lights and everything in order to get it to look just perfect.
Bathroom echo sounds pog, right? Like, just
what makes you think that? Okay, we've seen Nisei. That scene did not happen in a bathroom.
I see. Okay, so all this being said, wanted to let you guys know what was happening. We were in the process of moving.
Thank you for your continued patience.
We took everything but, like, this computer setup and moved it over there.
Literally, there's almost nothing behind background chan now.
Right.
It's just all gone.
There's still some shit back there, like literally my bed.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's really exciting, yeah, for sure. New Patreon goal: every stream starts with you brushing your teeth. You know, that might actually help me a little bit. My teeth have been getting a little bit less, like, like bright and shiny.
What with, quarantine and everything, it's not like you're going outside and seeing people. And if you do, you have a mask. So
how
can they tell?
They can't tell. You know what's actually great right now? Everyone that's in customer service doesn't have to fake smile anymore.
You can still tell if they're not smiling.
No, like, I'm really good.
Like the eyes and everything, like. No, because see.
Oh, yeah, I can kind of tell. You can tell. I can kind of tell. That is true. That is true. Yeah. Also, that's another cool thing. Yeah, Ameju, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub for a year. Thank you. No, we'll probably figure out a way to give you guys at least some info as to what was behind background chan.
Yeah, like maybe like once the room is all clear and stuff, be like, this is where we've been for the last 4 years.
Yeah. That could be kind of interesting. It'd basically be us just saluting an empty room and just being like, you served us well.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man.
If a customer service person stared at me like that, I'd be scared. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. A dungeon, obviously. You're not that far off, really.
Yeah. It is partially underground.
There's concrete in here. Like
yep.
it's yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now it's your turn.
That's right.
Oh my god. I wish I could see these sweaty hunks moving furniture. OnlyFans, hello. Oh my god. I'm not gonna lie. I think I was talking to another reactor recently who was seriously considering an OnlyFans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they were like, it's just really hard with YouTube these days. I should make an OnlyFans. And I was just like, hey, I mean, like, you do you, man. Like, I don't know, but good luck with that.
Caleb, background chan? Jacob with gun. It was always background chan.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry, what would they call us? I'm sorry, bro. You have no idea how far up this goes. You son of a bitch. Right. Isn't the old room from your dreaded cringe-inducing jingle-included introduction video from years ago? No, that was a closet.
Yeah.
That was a closet. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, that was literally for, like, not very long at all.
I think that was literally 2 recordings. And then, well, no, actually, it might have been more. I don't remember.
Can't remember. It all blurs together, but...
Well, yeah. Or we just kind of purge it from our memory.
Basically, that's probably more what it was.
No, that wasn't a real dungeon. That was a sweat box. It was basically just...
Oh, God.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
Like...
I remember.
So we're going to do a little bit of a miscellaneous podcast today.
Yep.
Giving a little bit of, everything. We made our announcement out in the beginning. Got you guys the info on that.
But we do have some things that we can talk about in amidst of your questions.
Right. So what we'll have throughout this is we'll take little breaks here and there beyond discussing this thing. But we have this topic that was brought about a little bit because we were... thinking about a couple shows in tandem. Now, think about this combination, guys. This one is going to really maybe kind of tweak your brain a little bit here. So we were thinking about Vinland Saga, Asabi Asabase,
Konosuba.
Konosuba, not really. That's more of the Asabi Asabase talk. But the other one was Fate Zero. So you have this amalgamation.
Right.
What do you talk about when you have Fate Zero, Vinland Saga, and Asabi Asabase all together?
And there are many others that we could bring into it, but those 3 really do sum it up quite nicely.
It really does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The death of the Paragon.
The death of the Paragon.
What is that bullshit, word that we made up right there?
Right, right. Paragon.
What the hell is that?
That's the blue choices in Mass Effect.
Exactly. That's just when Gone Freaks became a paralegal,
Oh my god. That was what the final arc was setting up.
Yeah.
Because it was all debated in a very lawyer-like manner.
Exactly. No,
gotcha.
Not quite.
Gotcha.
So Paragon is basically the ideal, the hero, the one that we can all look up to and better ourselves as a result of, right? It's the Kaminas, it's the Iskandars, it's the Thors, like not Thors like Marvel, but like Thors
from
the
S.
Yeah, with the S from Vinland Saga,
Not a god, but pretty dang close.
Yeah, pretty dang close. And these types of characters aren't as common nowadays, but they used to be really popular, right?
They used to be really popular, especially as protagonists.
Yeah.
Now, you'll note, actually, with a lot of these characters that we just brought up, none of them are the protagonists.
Because that's not as much of a thing nowadays. It's more of the figure that they represent, right, thematically in the story, than actually being a character, like, for the main perspective.
Right. And if you're really confused about why Asabi Asabase was brought up, oh, don't worry. That twist is being saved right now.
Because there's
just
another
put that in your pocket.
There's another part of that phrase, and that's death of.
Oh yeah.
So
we're going to be very much memeing it up in a kind of serious way with regards to.
The symbol of peace versus actual All Might. That is another great example. All Might was one of those ones where, like, he's basically, we talked about him being like Captain America and Superman pushed into one, right?
Yep.
Both of those
two
paragons, right? And if you think about it, those were superheroes that were come up with a very long time ago,
and they might have been a little bit more propaganda than actually.
Sure, that too, but also, aren't they kind of dated? Where's the Spider-Mans, right? The spunky kid with issues, that tries to do the thing and whatnot, right? That's more of the Deku type.
And
character.
In some ways, I would actually argue that one of the things that makes Spider-Man so great is that there are times when he is a paragon.
Right, but it's not all the time. It is not all the time. And that's what also makes Deku, like, people complain about Deku because he cries a lot, and it's like, no. His crying is what makes it worth it when he actually stands up, grits his teeth, and does the awesome.
Right. Yeah.
So
when we talk about the Paragon, we're going to kind of give you guys a brief bit of a descriptor here. Paragons are essentially, usually, I would say, pretty, not surface level all the time, but they can tend to be characters that are there to kind of broadcast the message about how the world can be made a better place.
Yep.
And you can help make that possible. Don't follow exactly what I do necessarily, because I'm a human being.
But follow what I represent.
Follow what I represent. Yep. I'm a symbol for good.
And you can totally see how that would work as a main character in a lot of stories, because the main character is the one that should be driving the narrative, right?
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases with, like, say, like the shonen protagonist, right?
Ooh, just in general,
For good or bad, that's kind of what the shonen protagonist needs to be. They're supposed to be the paragon in whatever way they embody it, right?
Yeah.
So whether you're talking about the ones that end up being more one-note and one-dimensional and don't have nuance and are kind of boring and they're wet bread, I'm using a lot of words for that, but I have feelings about that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That very much exists, right? And when you see those examples, you can see why we maybe talk about the idea of the death of the Paragon, because it's like, who wants that really? But then there are these really great examples where they do a good job, and it's those things that then the bad examples are trying to copy, but then they don't copy it quite right because they're copying the Paragon, the person that is the Paragon, not the actual thing that they were a good example of. So
when we go about talking about the death of the Paragon, we're talking about it in two facets. One, the main one, is that Paragons are becoming less and less popular nowadays.
Yep.
They're a type of archetype for a character that usually lacks in a couple areas. Nuance. Not usually as much. And let's go with the three things. Internal exploration. You don't usually get a lot of internal perspective of a Paragon, because then they could have flaws. Oh, no.
The idea is that they've already figured it out. They've tapped into something that if only you could tap into that too, then, everything would be fixed.
Right. I said lack of nuance.
Lack of nuance, lack of
internal perspective.
Internal perspective.
Oh, the other one is development. because they've
achieved
developed
that point. So why would they need to grow anymore?
Right. If you have a protagonist that doesn't need, that doesn't explore all three of these things, it's not that you're necessarily having a bad protagonist. It's just you're missing out on one of the things that a lot of people nowadays seem to really like. And we're going to be going into some of the kind of other types of main characters that people tend to use nowadays in exchange for a Paragon, because some of them are Paragon adjacent. They're actually pretty close to a Paragon. That's why I would say in some ways Spider-Man's whole thing of being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, that is his Paragon, if you will.
And it was
his virtue that he hopes that everyone can be a good, friendly neighbor. As he is the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
And I don't really read comics, but as far as from what I've heard of when Spider-Man came out in relation to the other superheroes that were out there and stuff, because apparently Stan Lee had a tough time selling Spider-Man to the companies, because they were like, well, why would we want a superhero that's has insecurities and things like that, right? And even though he was still largely the Paragon, right, he had enough of that extra sprinkles thrown in there. He was a human being, right? He was relatable to people, and that's why it's probably one of the most successful superhero franchises still to this day,
right? Right, and also he had an alternate identity, much like every superhero in general has. Meaning that you get to see them when they're just being themselves. They don't have to put on the mask. They don't have to put on the suit. They're able to basically let their flaws be a little bit more apparent, because they're in some ways kind of Right. You can't let everyone else know that they're representing this symbol.
And it's not like with, say, Clark Kent, and again, I don't know too much about comics, but with Clark Kent, where the flaws that he has to come up with are facades that he puts upon himself so that no one realizes that he is the Paragon.
Right. That's more of the superpowers thing.
Right. But it's still with the powers being the representation of the person, you know, that the superheroes are on display for.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, Cychronia. Yes, anyone can be a Paragon if they are inspiring the people around them. Right. That is what it means at the base level to be a Paragon. But when you have a character that is primarily identified as a Paragon, one of the things that's just something we're observing is that's becoming less and less common nowadays. What we're seeing more nowadays, and you guys are going to be like, oh my God, yeah, that's literally like every main character nowadays, is the character that is, I have this flaw, but I have a heart of gold. And you just add, but I have a heart of gold to the end of all this list of flaws that a character has. And in trope language, they designate that as the Mr. Vice guy.
Right.
It's the Tony Starks and the Han Solos.
And there are a ton of different iterations and variations on this, because this isn't like something new, you know?
No, it's definitely not new at all.
That Paragons aren't really a thing anymore. It's just that more now they're almost so dead that they're being revived in they're being revived in certain ways.
They're being necromancied
like with All Might and things like that, you know, where there's those few, you know, ones that sort of hold out.
Right.
But for
and
the
we
most
look at
part,
it with nostalgia.
Right, we look at it with nostalgia.
Right.
And, you know, but yeah, the Vice guys, the Han Solos, the Harry Dresdens, the Malcolm Reynolds, the, you know, like the list goes on just for that one.
Oh yeah, that's just the selfish people.
Right, exactly.
Like we could go into the ones where the vengeful kind.
Yeah, the anti-hero.
Like Thorfinn, and if you will.
Sure, yeah, Thorfinn is totally a Vice
wrath in that he's just, I have to get my revenge, I have to kill this guy. His whole character, in a good chunk of it, not the whole character, but a whole huge chunk of it is based around his desire for vengeance.
Oh, Grunkle Stan, yeah.
Grunkle Stan, sure.
Yeah. Now, he's not the main character, so it's a different, it's a different
He's not the protagonist.
Right, he's not the protagonist, so it makes for a really fun mentor, and that is one of the things, though, because oftentimes, after the protagonist stopped being the Paragon, then the mentor started being the Paragon, because that was sort of where it worked, and that's also where
they don't have to develop anymore, because they're going to die in episode 5,
they're going to die, and then that's also one of the reasons why the death of the mentor can be really powerful, because then it's now you're on your own, right? You don't have the Paragon to look at anymore. Is what they taught you, did you take that into yourself enough so that you can remember it and still hold true to it as best you can, now that you don't have them walking alongside you?
For sure.
And then we have things like All Might and Thor's and, you know, and whatnot, but even then there were those those things that made them oftentimes not quite paragons or removed from the story rather quickly.
The anti-hero thing being not super defined, the main point about it is that it's anti. So it's not that the anti-hero definition keeps changing, it's that the definition of what people like about heroes keeps changing.
Right. So it's something where it's, okay, they don't like, people generally don't like something about heroes, so we're going to change it a bit so that way here's you can get this. You can get the person that, their whole village was slaughtered and now they're, on a quest for revenge. You get the Batmans, right, where it's the I'm a hero, but I'll do, I still don't kill people, but I go right up to that line, and then you can sort of explore the darker sides of humanity through that.
Yeah, and I would say that one of the things that's maybe a little bit weird, in my opinion, with regards to anti-heroes is that there is a overwhelming number of anti-heroes in fiction nowadays because I would say there's an appeal. There is an appeal in the nuance of a character who is someone that does the right thing that a hero does, gets rid of the threat to the old granny crossing the street or what have you. The thing is they don't help the granny cross the street. They stand with spell magic and just blow up any cars that come by them or what have you.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm using a dumb visual to bring up the point. I
totally get what you mean.
To bring up the point that people are like, I am tired of seeing people just help granny cross the street.
Right. What did granny ever do for them? Right. And there are plenty of examples where the word anti-hero is used kind of like where it shouldn't really, and usually it's just that it's an attempt at basically making the paragon not a paragon, so that way, if they're not looked to as something to strive for, but more of they're dangerous and bad and all that stuff,
right. Or they're just slightly cynical,
right? Or slightly cynical, or whatever.
Aren't we all slightly cynical a little bit?
It's an attempt to add more nuance and to make it so that they're not held up and elevated as such a lofty sort of yes, this person is perfect, right? But it's still something that, whatever form the anti-hero takes, it's something where the attempt behind it is to differentiate itself from the Paragon hero.
Lawful good, lawful stupid, protagonist Paragon hero.
Right.
Yeah, and usually the reason why there's kind of the jokes surrounding the anti-heroes of, I'm brooding because... I'm so deep. I'm so deep.
And so a lot are,
Right. But what's being mocked there is the idea that this character is my internal perspective is conflicted. Wait, so
you're
heroes?
A regular person?
Right. So you're a regular person? If you think about entertainment, oftentimes we don't actually like human beings. We like caricatures that move the story along for the purpose of, entertainment. But what's funny is that people aren't really, so black and white and, straightforward. Right. We are self-contradictory. We are confusing, very weird beings.
And a lot of the time, one of the problems with the true Paragon is that they lack nuance and they're not relatable and things like that. A lot of times, and that makes them not likable.
Yeah.
You can make the characters still be very likable with very little nuance, as long as you make it so that they are not a perfect person. Asabi Asabase is a great example of this. Those girls are terrible.
Here we go.
They're awful. And this is how it kind of relates into waifu culture,
Oh, no.
Is that... So, Asabi Asabase, the characters are awful. But we've seen people like that. We've been those people at different times, right? So it's great. Even though they're awful in very specific ways, right? Hanako... Yeah, her way that she's awful, well, she gets jealous of girls that are prettier than her, and she wants boys to like her, but
she wants to be popular.
And she wants to be popular. She doesn't really want to try hard, but she doesn't like it when anything doesn't go her way, right? She's very spoiled. Okay, cool. That's not very deep.
Nope.
But it is funny as hell to watch. It is
extremely entertaining.
Because man... I can relate to that. Yeah. I know times when I was like that, and I wasn't very deep of a person,
Yep.
But man, I really hated
You're just selfish.
I was selfish as balls, right?
Yep.
And that's just how it be sometimes. Yep. And bear with me here. The idea of a waifu, in a sense, is a paragon. right?
Okay.
Because it's the perfect girl, the girl that laughs at all your jokes, has huge boobs, but is still really small. You know, like all of that stuff that just doesn't exist.
It inspires you to be worthy.
Sure.
No.
But the point is that it comes from a lot of that place of like the perfect person, right? And recently, if you look at a lot of the waifus that have taken the internet by storm, they are less the sort of the perfect girl kind of a thing, and they're more of the girl that actually she's awful.
She's just actually awful.
Actually awful, but maybe she does have some redeeming qualities in there. Hey, the whole tsundere, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's basically that.
Every yandere out there that
no, I'm going a bit too far.
No, but I'm saying that's the same kind of thing,
right?
Though.
It's basically the edgy anti-hero to Paragons that, you know, I'm just a good person that has no real personality or anything like that, and I'm just here, I'm a blob, you know. It's a response to that. So we get things like Asabi Asabase, we get things like Konosuba, we get, you know, tsunderes and things like that, right? Where there's a character where you're like, okay, this character's got issues, but I like them, they're cool.
Yeah. So with Paragons being these characters that is, as far as the main character protagonist role, they're becoming less and less of a thing. This isn't something new. This is something that's been going on for a while. If you were to look at a bunch of the anime that you've watched, I think you would start to notice more black and white Paragon type characters. The older and the farther back you went into the mainstream effective anime. But one of the things that's been really common in fiction, at least nowadays, rather than going at it from just a progressive sense, is that flaws are being celebrated.
Yes.
In fact, actually, in some ways, they're lauded as being like one of the main reasons why you like the character.
Yeah, Kaguya as a show. That's just about, hey, we've got these people, they are super flawed. Their flaws are ridiculous, like to extreme degrees, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we love them for it. Like that's why we watch the show. We want to see what trouble their flaws are going to get them into this time.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. You dumb kids who suck at love. We love you so much.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now that in storytelling, I would say things have gotten better and better and better. This is maybe the one thing where, because there's no really new stories out there, everything is slightly derivative of something else. There's definitely some exceptions to the rule.
But it's more just that they do it in a really fresh, unique way and flavor because they know why they're doing it than because they're doing something fundamentally different.
Yeah, it's all basically just colors that haven't been invented yet because it's not actually a completely new color. It's just you mixed a bunch of things in a very specific fashion.
Right.
With characters having their flaws being more and more celebrated, though, what is the role of a paragon? And I will tell you, the paragon is not fully dead.
Right.
The paragon is fulfilling a very, very specific role nowadays.
This weird reverse response to the reverse response of the, you know, because paragons are too prevalent, right? That then you have characters like Kamina and Iskandar and, you know, like
Thors. These characters never died. They just are getting shunted off to the side to being that side character or tertiary character that will not develop. They won't develop. They're not becoming more and more nuanced. What they are is they are being used as a medium for which the character with the flaw as the big thing is literally set up to be developed by looking at the paragon.
Iroh. Like think about this. Some of my favorite characters in anime, like, and yes, I know Airbender isn't an anime, but, you know, like in just fiction and stuff, still are paragons because they can be done amazingly well.
For sure.
Tenma is totally a paragon in Monster and the protagonist, right? How does that work? Ten was probably one of the last like Paragon protagonists that I would say actually really worked in fiction that I've seen.
That was like really good. And if anything, Tenma gets so overshadowed by the other characters in Monster. In some ways, actually, I would say because of how desperately he maybe tries to cling on to. Well, it's unique to the story, and I would say Monster is just so well written. You just got to experience Monster if you don't know what we're talking about.
Watch it; it's great.
But in some ways, you go back and look at Monster. Tenma feels kind of wooden compared to some of those side characters who are not at all anywhere near Paragons.
And because Urasawa is really good, he knows how to even explore the idea of the Paragon in a protagonist, right?
For sure.
But,
I just love that nowadays the Paragon is a thing that, as the main character, in my opinion, it's been dead for a while.
Yeah.
And we're just now realizing a little bit that whoa, wait. What is dead may never die, you know?
Yeah.
You know, what did happen? You know, matter cannot be created or destroyed, you know?
Just changes forms.
Equivalent exchange here. Where did the Paragon go?
Yeah.
And it's been there all along. It's the side character mentor. It's the side character, I don't know, like romance or like, and there's even some weird things I've seen in stories where the romance side character is paragoned in a verb sense, even though it doesn't work.
Oh, by the person who has the crush on them because they see them in that
and that's the flaw. Right. Is that they've idolized them so much.
Yeah, how they actually are.
ReZero?
Yes.
ReZero?
Yes. No, straight up.
Straight up ReZero?
Yeah, so Emilia is still, like, the characters in ReZero are actually rather good.
They are. Like,
for the main three.
Especially for an isekai.
Especially for an isekai, right?
Yeah.
Emilia, and this is, Emilia is probably the best example that I think of when I think of the idea of the Paragon with regards to the waifu, right? Because she's all white and violet and everything and super pretty and whatnot, right? But then, you know, everyone's favorite ended up being Rem. Now, Rem is still a little bit Paragon-y.
She's got a lot of flaws, though.
She's got a lot of flaws, though, right?
Yeah.
But that style, that is sort of the older style of waifu, kind of, that doesn't really have as much of a place anymore. I don't know what happens in the light novels and stuff, and they did handle her character very well, so I'm not too worried about that.
I'm sure it still, is very popular.
Right. But that's that sort of personification, and Subaru definitely looks at her that way. Subaru totally looks at her that way. You're just you're the perfect, beautiful person, and this is like in one of those stories where I have to like win you, right? That's how it works, right? No. Here we go. At some point, Caleb is going to insert a big but into the ReZero discussion.
No. I think in some ways, like, one of the things that I really loved about ReZero primarily is just the things within one direct deviation. What is it called?
Right.
One direct separation from. 1 degree of separation.
1 degree of separation
from Subaru.
Right. If it's more than that, then it's like
it starts to lose interest for me.
Like, also, just because obligatory, whatever, it ended recently. Domestic girlfriend, best girl and domestic girlfriend, hands down, and you know this too. It's Momo, right? The person who is introduced that has the issues, right? Now, all of the characters have issues, but besides the point.
Yeah, no, we're not making the equation that Emilia is an actual Paragon. I'm talking about the point in where Subaru viewed her in such a way, even though, yes, she was not deserving of that just by existing and being pretty and white and, magical.
Right. That is okay, so Amiju, even though this isn't quite what you were saying, but good point to actually bring up Lord of the Rings. Aragorn in Lord of the Rings, in the books, he is completely different than how he is in the movies.
Absolutely.
If you ever want to check it out, it's rather startling, right?
Yeah.
But all of the internal conflict in Aragorn was in the movies only. It was not in the books at all. Yeah. In the books, he was like this badass Paragon who, like, as soon as the Council of Elrond thing happened, he's like, "Yo, Elrond, reforge Andoril. We're gonna go kick some ass and go to Mordor." Right?
Immediately,
right? And in my mind, even though I love book Aragorn, the fact that Jackson decided to do that, make that change, I think that was a good idea. Because that Aragorn idea, wouldn't really work as well now as it would have back when Tolkien originally wrote the story.
Right. And you could look at Aragorn and go, he's kind of the typical reluctant hero. Do you know what the reluctant hero was made as an example to be like of in some ways? Is the response to the yes, I will go do the thing. What if the hero, someone was like, at some point was like, what if the hero doesn't want to be the hero?
Right. Doesn't that give
it's almost mythical
value?
Though in some ways?
Well,
that's an old thing.
Because if you think about it, that's what gives value to when they take up the mantle of the Paragon, right?
Sure.
Because they weren't there originally. The reason people get bored with paladins is not because the paladins are good guys. It's because they don't see any of the conflict with why the paladins are good guys.
No one asks. my whole brain just went like right after saying that. I was about to go into being like, no one asks. Everyone asks why is the paladin, but no one asks how is the paladin.
Yeah,
but it doesn't really fit at all. Oh my god. But Yang from Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Okay, so this is actually an aspect of Yang that I think is genius. Every time we see Yang, he's lazing about.
Yes.
Every single time. Now, obviously, he's the admiral of a fleet and, commands ships and stuff like that. So we see him standing at attention sometimes. But he practically looks like he's yawning in his own mind when he's there standing at attention. He's just like, I don't really want to be here. I'm kind of here because I have to. And no one else is really stepping up, so yeah.
If anything, Yang is kind of a commentary on the idea that because we are people, paragons exist in fiction, but they don't really exist in real life.
Right. And you will notice them, but you will probably immediately doubt them.
You will probably immediately doubt them, and the truest paragons in real life are not the ones that actually are paragons, but they're the ones that earnestly try to be paragons.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And that you can at least get along with. That you can see, because then it's not the person themselves, it's what they're looking at, right?
Because we don't have third-person omniscient perspective.
Exactly. That also complicates things.
That also makes things a little bit trickier.
Right.
That's why in some ways I would say paragons also, maybe this is another thing with regards to fantasy and sci-fi. Fantasy and sci-fi, I'd say nowadays are becoming more and more comfortable with first-person perspective. First-person perspective begets more internalized looking at things.
Or at least it should.
It should. Yeah. In terms of that, though, you end up getting more potential nuance because then you see that internal conflict. You get to have huge chunks of the story focusing on whether a character will do a thing. Right. We know maybe what they should do or what makes sense for their character, but for some reason they're conflicted.
Oh, yeah.
What? What? They should be just doing the thing.
So I've been reading through the Dresden Files lately.
Oh, yeah.
And the main character in Dresden Files, Harry Dresden, is a really good character. I wasn't totally sold on him at the beginning. I was kind of like, okay, this seems very much like a Han Solo-inspired character, and if you're going to rip something off something good, for sure.
So it's like kind of derivative, not
but
super,
where's the yeah, exactly. Like where is it going to become its own thing, right?
Okay.
And maybe it's just because the author had a really good grasp on why he was doing that sort of like vice guy, Han Solo kind of protagonist. But also maybe because he'd been writing it so long that basically he was able to stick with that like characterization for him, because you don't rewrite, say, did he shoot first or not? You're able to see him doing all these things that are Paragon-like. It inspires other people, in the way a Paragon would. Yeah. And yet, because it's a first-person perspective, you see just how conflicted he is every time he does the Paragon-like thing.
Gotcha.
And because he's seen some Paragons, right? It's like this burned image into his mind where he can't... He has to do the right thing. But God, there are some times where he really doesn't want to, or where it really is coming at a cost to him, and that makes him reluctant, even though he always follows through. And that's it's that vice guy kind of a thing. But there are ways to have that Paragon flavor be mixed into a character without them actually being just like a paragon of paragons, if that makes sense.
Jonathan Joestar is more just a good representation of what the typical protagonist was 40 years ago.
Sure.
So,
yep.
Yeah, but regardless of actually whether or not they were someone that was effective at that, it was more of maybe something that showed the lack of nuance in some of the writing aspects for a lot of those main characters.
And then we got Joseph as a result.
Yeah, the transition from Jonathan to Joseph, I almost called him Joseph, but from Jonathan to Joseph is kind of that, hey, yeah, we get it. Human beings aren't really,
right. And in a lot of ways, Joseph is still a paragon in a different way. He's a paragon of his own way of doing things. Like there isn't a whole lot of nuance to how Joseph goes about doing things, but because he owns it so well, it's great. But that's an example of where there's this iterative response over time of something is presented, in art or whatever that represents how people think about things and at the time and whatnot.
Right.
And then as time goes on, things change, people change, society changes, and then something doesn't really work anymore. And then you come up with something a bit better, a bit better, a bit better.
Right.
And even if we maybe have a bunch of isekai right now, there's always a thing where you have a ton of it. It used to be harems. Yep. And now we're in places where the characters, we don't have the Paragon protagonist problem anymore. And if they are Paragons that are the protagonists, they're usually quite good.
Yeah, they're usually actually pretty nuanced. It's kind of a thing that's tied more to their dream or to their specific thing that their motivation is, and it's something that usually is referencing back to another Paragon character who's an actual hard Paragon. Someone brought up Griffith as a Paragon, and I wanted to bring up the idea of what Griffith as a character is. And the thing is he's kind of two different characters, because we have Griffith when he's still kind of untouched, if you will, by everything that goes down. Griffith is, I would say, a Paragon in both before and after, moment. And I would say in some ways that's something that I want to see Miura kind of maybe explore a little bit, because maybe some aspects of his nature are consistent and carry through. And while he might have actually had some issues over the course of that, transformation stuff. Sorry, I'm getting some frames dropping here.
Oh, really?
I looked a little bit janky for a second. I think we're fine now, but it is starting to do a little bit of a thing there. Okay, are we good?
That was weird.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. But he was someone that very much inspired those around him to take up the mantle, the charge, and go for it. And
that was why Guts had his whole character arc, because he was just doing his thing, and then all of a sudden, this guy seems like something more.
Yeah.
Maybe I should change too. And whether or not that Paragon nature ran as deep as it seemed, that is to be debated, right?
Right.
But yes, definitely didn't.
Paragons can be some of the most terrifying antagonists.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I 100% agree. One of the things that has also happened, I would say, is actually the resurgence of Paragons moving in the antagonist category. That is so much more of a thing nowadays.
The whole villain protagonist idea kind of comes from that, because it's the I feel like it's the response maybe to the anti-hero, where the anti-hero is, okay, we can't be a hero, but then we're not, we're losing out on a lot of the aspects maybe that the hero had. And if we're just defining it by what we're not, what do we end up having, right? We need some substance, some foundation. And then you get the villain protagonist, which I would say is what Askeladd is.
Yeah.
And so he still has a lot of those tenets about him that we can latch on to in a protagonist, in a hero, right? But he is not a great guy, right? And then we can still see him go on his journey and all that stuff and better himself and everything and teach Thorfinn lessons and whatnot. But, we know he's not a hero. And that makes him a bit more relatable, a bit more understandable, easier to root for. There you go.
Yeah. A Paragon that thinks they're right and you're wrong is terrifying. Well, I think that's a good character, too. In general, most characters that are convincing aren't deluding themselves. Even in some ways, the maniac, mass murderer enjoys what they're doing. like they're crazy, they're broken internally, so that's why they can like that.
Right.
But it's something where, yeah, usually we can maybe dehumanize antagonists like that to the point where we then go, well, we don't understand their process,
right,
and their way in which they got there, so it doesn't really terrify us as much.
So, battle lines. So, one of the things that I really wanted to make sure in battle lines was that the antagonist was someone that, even if you disagreed with them, you knew that they believed in what they were doing.
Right.
Like, because a lot of times in fiction, I would get so frustrated by an antagonist where it's like, oh, yeah, I can totally track with you. You know, this is who you were before you turned into a bad guy. And then at some point, it just skips, right?
Yeah.
And you're like...
Literally, that happened in some of our favorite shows. Like do you guys remember Merlin?
Oh, God.
Merlin has this point where suddenly
that's a literal skip.
That's a literal time skip where they're like, hey,
oh man,
she's now
evil.
She's now evil.
Why?
Well, we time skipped and you just don't know.
And she was called Morgana, so you know that
she must be bad.
She must be bad eventually, even though the character they'd been building up to that point had some issues and
some nuance,
but you were sure would struggle through it and figure things out, right? And then all of a sudden, that was with an actual time skip.
That was so bad.
Oh God! But the idea that if you can have a Paragon, especially as a villain, that's terrifying because in the same way that you can maybe look up to the Paragon, right? When you're the protagonist and there's that Paragon mentor or something, right? And what if that Paragon is trying to kill you? And they really believe that you deserve and should be gone from this world, and that what they're doing is right and just, and that you cannot talk to them and actually point out where they went wrong, other than just that at this point they're wrong. It's the just because you're correct no longer doesn't mean you're right, because they're not going to develop anymore because they figured it out.
They're a Paragon, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if you can sell that they are a Paragon, even to the audience and to the reader, right? Ooh. Even if it's something where that's not a kind of Paragon you would want to be, but that they are a Paragon of that, right? Then it can be this wonderfully chilling thing where it's
because they'll naturally have some charisma, and that charisma is what allows them to, in some ways, be a Paragon where someone follows along with them,
right?
And that's maybe one of the things that, because we brought up Tenma earlier, that's one of the things that I thought was maybe genius about what they did with Johann as a villain. Was that he did not care really about how other people saw him in that regard, but there were so many people that saw his results and what he was bringing as a force in the world, and were like, I worship you. I want to be like you. I want to do everything that I can to be who you are. And that was so much more chilling than when we would actually see Johann doing his own thing. It was when we saw the effect his nature had on other people.
Like the conversation with Richard on the roof, or the time when he had that kid, he sent that kid off, right? That... that kind of stuff like messes you up deep inside, where you're like, that I could see myself being that person that is getting swayed by that Paragon. It's the people that talk about how they listen to certain recorded speeches of historical figures that were batshit insane, and yet because of the charisma that they spoke with, they found themselves getting swayed by it, even though they know that what they're listening to is horrific.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most terrifying things about people. And we're not even going to be going into this like necessarily in depth, but most of our favorite characters, I would say, tend to be ones that we can trace back to some level of humanity. Even if they're not literally, they're not the human race or whatever. Right. But when you see that essence of humanity's like so certain that they're right, that aspect of maybe not necessarily the Paragon in the lawful, stupid kind of category. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about basically the charisma of certainty that allows them to move and speak in a certain way, where people who do not have a firm grip on some aspect of their own identity will just sway with them.
Right.
And that's what I think made Johann so terrifying as a villain and monster. But there's villains in fiction that I've seen do an essence of that. And it's just cool that in some ways the Paragon, as we've talked about a lot as the hero, didn't die, but is just transformed into a lot of different forms. And as a villain, it works just really well.
Yeah, as a villain,
a lot of times.
It's amazing. It's absolutely wonderful.
For sure. Like the Sith holocrons in Star Wars? Sure. Hey, blind man. Messier, isn't that all of us? Oh, not that just thinking we're right. Oh, yeah.
Right, because that can just get into, like, arrogance and
that's just
pride and whatnot.
That's just a flaw of nature in some ways. And that, in that respect, that's kind of an aspect of the Vice, Mr. Vice guys. Basically, the idea that, you're just basically, identifying yourself via this flaw. That's cool and all, but you need a little more than that,
But because the Paragon is something that we would all ideally like to have for ourselves, right? That's the nature of it.
Sure.
By definition, it's the one that's got it figured out, and who wouldn't want to have themselves and their life and their place in society and the world be figured out, right? So even when you see someone that is a terrible person but is a paragon of that, there's something that's darkly compelling because, man, I wish I could speak with confidence like that. I wish I really know who I was deep down like that.
And personality-wise, that's something that's not across the board in that regard. But it's the fact that it still comes from a place of humanity that's both equally chilling and magnetic, if you will.
That's one of my favorite things about Endeavor, also in MHA, with how they did things in the end of the 4th season. Because he was very much a paragon of sorts of what he was in his own very specific way.
Right.
But
power.
Exactly. Right. But is that something that necessarily was helpful?
He wasn't an effective paragon.
He wasn't an effective paragon
for the most part. I'll tell you that.
Right. He didn't. He was a paragon for himself, kind of, but not for society and people around him.
Right. So then situations come about and maybe he's going to try and decide to be one, even if he doesn't necessarily deserve the recognition of it.
And oh man,
that's probably what makes it so interesting,
because he stayed a paragon, but instead of being that at the very least, maybe not villain paragon but antagonistic paragon, then he turned into a weird sort of underdog hero paragon, and it was great. It was wonderful.
It's interesting. I hope they actually follow up on that pretty well. Because there's a real possibility that it doesn't go, too much.
Like that's what we got with him, and then we're maybe going to get a little bit of focus later on, but not much.
Specifically with this whole discussion here, though, I wanted to give a lot of people opportunity to ask questions and stuff, and there's been some good questions brought in here thus far. But we're going to take a little break here and give you guys opportunity to ask some questions here. For now, maybe keep it focused on the Paragon discussion, but we will have a section towards the end here where we'll do just general AMA questions.
Chaos Theory, excellent example. Louis in Beastars is totally a paragon. And he's established in the beginning as the villain paragon, and it's terrifying and you hate him. And then you see the aspects of him where he's not quite a villain paragon. He's just a paragon that is definitely not a hero paragon.
Right.
And it's incredibly compelling.
It's very compelling.
My God. I love the characters in Beastars, but as far as the one that surprised me the most, and I was so glad it was there, Louis, hands down, no contest.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Is Paragon someone that people look up to, or it's about the audience, or both are required? So yes is the short answer.
Yeah, I think if you have all of those, it's great. You don't necessarily need all of them. But if the audience doesn't look up to the person, they need to believe that there are people within the story that look up to them.
Right.
So for instance, I'll just use Sol as an example. You might hate Sol and be like, what the bloody hell is, a lot of the stuff that he's talking about early in the story. That's awful, right? But because there are people around him that believe in it and in him and all of that stuff, it kind of, I don't know what you thought, but I thought it worked.
Yeah. Shogo Makashima. Well, okay, so here's the issue, I would say primarily, is that he's actually not drawing. If he is one, I would say his actions and results regarding his actions don't draw people to him.
Yeah,
he is more of someone trying to topple something and destabilize it.
He feels more like a provocateur.
Yeah. If anything, he's trying to undermine foundations that people are looking up to. He sees, maybe he's the one that, maybe this is why it makes sense, is he is upset at where society is basically stagnated by creating technology as the paragon, if you will.
Sure.
Because the technology isn't actually a paragon, it's stagnating. So no one is able to have development. So therefore, he is trying to attack the thing that is harming people's ability to develop. But he is not himself trying to be a paragon.
In a lot of ways, though, that mirrors the trend of the paragon throughout fiction. Because the Paragon originally cool, especially with like a lot of the times like the superhero stories and things like that came out where it's like everything's scary, you need some sort of ideal to look at, right? And then all of a sudden that's not really needed anymore, but that's a lot of what's still established because it was what worked back then, right? And then suddenly it's like, this feels confining and like we're not really growing like a Paragon because we're thinking that we've figured it out.
Wait
and you break free and go to the next level.
Yeah, I actually want to recant a little bit of what I was saying there with Makishima. Makishima was trying to get other people to do the things for him, though. So there are elements of a paragon in there.
Sure, where he would talk to people and try and, specifically make them question and
he riled up a lot of people to do things. So in some ways, he was kind of tapping into elements of it, but he was not, I would say, still a paragon. Would you consider Reagan a paragon? No, maybe, but I see what you're getting at.
Maybe the reason
it's
why...
It's more based on the relationship.
Right. Yeah. Maybe the reason why I wouldn't see Makishima as a paragon is because it's something where he's specifically trying to cast off something rather than actually embrace something like in particular.
He's not giving people an answer.
Right. He's basically saying that this isn't the answer.
Is that the innate flaw of actually paragons? Is that they have to feel like they know what they're doing?
Like they have the answer, kind of?
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think that is maybe part of the inherent pride in paragons, primarily, is that they think they know what's the right thing to do.
Hence Askeladd's whole commentary to Thorfinn of like, well, what happened to your father? He was such a great warrior. Why isn't he here right now? It's the Hound and Arya of the, I'll tell you why he's dead, because Merentrand had armor and a big fucking sword,
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's more the effective change in those around them. By that logic, all manipulators would be paragons, whereas the two things aren't correlated. Yeah, sure, you're right.
Yeah.
There are elements where if you pull out one element of a paragon and you look at it independently, you could be like, well, yes, this is an element of a paragon, but characters don't have just one element. You have to then take that element and put it in another context and be like, oh, wait, Makishima does all these other things as well. So no, he's not a paragon.
Yeah, maybe it also has a lot to do with their sort of role in the story of how they fit in thematically. Because like Senku, I could say that Senku is a paragon of sorts. Like he's not like the strongest example of a paragon in my mind.
Sure.
Because it is a lot about his own just fascination with science, and he definitely wants to help people, but it's sort of his own exploration and things like that other people ended up getting lifted up by.
Yeah, in a lot of respects to them, part of this also might be just that a part of it is based on perception. And to these characters, to everyone that's not Senku, that's involved in the kingdom of science, nation of science, he's kind of their paragon, if you will, just a little bit. Because they're so fascinated by this because he brings so much passion into it and also results that you have characters like Chrome who are like, oh my God, yes, sensei, teach me.
Right.
Like, yeah, there is elements of that.
And then you have Hamura who's like, well, I don't like you, but this cotton candy tastes really good.
Yeah. Yeah, the teacher, the mentor fits in that quite a lot. Would Qui-Gon count as a paragon or just some sort of ideal character? No, I think Qui-Gon, here's the problem I have. I have a lot of expanded universe info on Qui-Gon. He's not a paragon. No.
There are aspects of Qui-Gon that compared to the Jedi Order as it was back then could be paragonic.
Right. I feel like one of the things that needs to be said though is that Paragon is just a subset of a character archetype. There are so many other permutations of Paragons out there that it's very easy to find elements of them.
It's not black and
the
white,
board,
you know.
So yeah, it's for sure. From Haikyuu, who would you consider closest to a Paragon? Hinata? He's very flawed, so I don't think he fits perfectly, but very inspiring. Ushijima, the little giant. I'm thinking about this a lot now. Okay, so with regards to Hinata, here is the point that I think is really cool in Season 2. Hinata spurs the entire team to evolve because he gets greedy. This is part of the essence of why I think Hinata is a very good main character, as opposed to a lot of people who just see screaming
as just
orange boy.
And,
right. He has some very serious flaws that have nothing to do with his volleyball ability.
Yeah. Yep.
He wants to be like his ideal, the little giant. The little giant isn't even a character. It's more of like
it's an idea.
It's an ideal, yeah.
If anything, the little giant is the Paragon.
Maybe, yeah, especially to Hinata. But he drives himself so dramatically towards this thing in a very kind of uncharismatic kind of way. He's just loud. You can't ignore him. Tsukishima's response is like the extreme version of how the team feels probably sometimes when Hinata's like, blah, blah, blah. And so he inspires them and maybe in some ways also forces them to move forward at a more dramatic pace in Season 2.
Right.
So he takes on aspects of that. But, like, do you see
Hinata
lot of
doesn't
people,
have anything figured out
like,
other than
Hinata
being
doesn't
passionate.
have much charisma.
Well, okay, maybe he could be the Paragon of passion.
Sure.
You know, like he as far as passion for volleyball goes, he kind of is the Paragon there.
Okay, here's the difference. Compare Luffy and Hinata.
Yeah,
who's the Paragon now?
Yeah,
it's very obvious.
Luffy is hands down like Luffy is. Well, yeah. When I was talking about like the few protagonist Paragons that are like still vestiges of that sort of era,
right?
Luffy is the big one in my mind because he does it so well.
Yeah, and his whole thing is about bringing other people up.
Yep,
specifically so that they can be their own person that follows their own dream.
And by the way, does Luffy have a lot of nuance? Not really.
No.
But he owns that.
Does he develop actually like that much? He develops
a little bit.
But
like rubber, he doesn't change a whole lot.
Right. He kind of returns back to the original form.
Yep. Yep.
Right. This is actually be kind of interesting. Do a study on shonen protagonists that are popular from popular series and stuff like that. And just take each one and explore what aspects of a Paragon nature that they have. And then do some kind of gradient, like kind of scale thing to show like what percentage of Paragon they all are.
Sure.
I would see there's quite a few actually in the popular mainstream side of things that very much fall under specific subtypes of Paragons. Like, I think about Naruto, for instance, and I don't know much about Naruto as a character, but everyone likes to joke about the fact that he seems to be able to talk all these villains into friendship.
Yeah.
That's a skill. That's charisma. That's something else. It might be just the plot, but you know,
a lot of the time it is the plot.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But to be so consistent in that, to go so entirely into that, that's a little element of being a Paragon, you know? Yeah. Jonathan Joestar is God, yeah. He's almost in some ways the atypical Paragon with regards to things from that time. Hey, Trashogon with the 17 months of Twitch Prime. Hello, guys. Don't really have much time at the moment, so I can't really follow your streams regularly. Hope you guys are doing great. Oh, thank you.
Trashogon.
Thank you.
Hope everything's going well. Okay, so here's a question for you. What would be some favorite Paragons or specifically non-Paragons, like the you know, like the equivalent of like the Asobi Asobase, girls, where it's they're so
just
awful,
the worst.
They're just the worst,
and you love them
for it. Like what would be some examples of that, both with just characters in general and also waifus? Like,
sure, yeah, I'm curious about that. Let's see, Thanor. I appreciate your dedication. Ava. The gang from Always Sunny.
Yes, Ava.
Ava, nice.
Yep.
Marilyn from Hunter x Hunter. Sure, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Dio. Ooh. Dio is just the worst. That's true. Kazuma, yes.
Well, okay. The Hound, I can totally see that.
The Hound is kind of in some ways like one of the better characters in the Game of Thrones TV show.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like, and he's still, he might be dead. I don't know what's going on in the books.
I think he is
confirmed that he's alive.
No, I think it actually is confirmed that he is dead in the books.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I remember that was a crazy back and forth theory thing where people were like, is he alive? Is he dead? Is he alive? Is he dead?
I mean, maybe he could be. I mean, he's Sandor, but you know.
That's true.
Oh, Joel. Okay, so from The Last of Us. So let's talk about The Last of Us. It's a great game. I love it. It's wonderful. Caleb hasn't played it. You really need to play it at some point. I'll keep this spoiler free.
Okay.
But Joel and the other main character from The Last of Us are a great example on the whole idea of how Paragons are kind of out of style.
Oh,
right?
Cool.
Because if you think about
it's a zombie thing, right?
Right, it's a zombie thing. So post-apocalyptic. So
no one that's a Paragon is going to survive.
Right, no one that's a Paragon is going to survive.
Right,
but it explores the idea of where these characters are at, given the fact that they are not Paragons.
I don't think he's saying Joel is a Paragon. I think he's saying Joel is an answer.
Right. He's absolutely not a Paragon, and that's why it works. Right. It's the not a Paragon, not in the way of just like not the extreme case like Asobi Asobase, where it's just like this person's the worst, but I love them. That works a lot better in comedy, but more in a let's explore the human condition and this character that, for reasons is very much not a Paragon, and yet we absolutely are on board with their whole journey.
Right. So then he has flaws that are hyper featured because of the environment and the story that he's in.
And Troy Baker brings them to life in an amazing way.
But do they have but he has a heart of gold at the end of that? Is it the
I don't want to say
flaw?
I don't.
But he has a heart of gold.
I don't want to say.
Chat, tell me. No. Don't answer, Jacob.
Yeah, I'm not answering. Yeah.
All right. Dang it. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Keanu Reeves, he is kind of a Paragon.
In the books, the Hound is stated to be dead, but there's a popular theory that he's still alive called the Gravedigger theory. Yes, that's right. That's right. Thank you for the reminder of that. Chat, can someone give me a TLDR of what a Paragon is? I will do it for you real quick.
Yeah, TV tropes.
TV tropes is amazing.
It's absolutely wonderful for any time you're wanting to get into some aspect of like meta narrative in story and yeah.
A character who lives to help others, but in a way that shows those people how to help themselves. Characters not believe in holding out for a hero. That's another trope. This character's ultimate goal is that one day when the people need a hero, they can be the heroes themselves.
Let's actually just link it in chat.
People know how to Google it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to do let me Google that for you.
Google the TV tropes, the Paragon.
Yeah, and now we're wanting to know what are those super flawed characters that you just love. You just absolutely love them.
Mugen from Samurai Champloo.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. It's a fun one.
Okay.
Takamura. I mean, as far as boxing, he is definitely the Paragon. As far as personality, he is definitely not. Or the Paragon of being awful.
Flawed.
Oh, and also, we brought up Fate Zero, and we didn't really talk about it much, but Iskandar literally has speeches on the idea of a Paragon.
It's a king.
Yeah, it's a king. A king must, laugh louder and, and fight harder and everything and, than any other, right? He needs to be greedier than all the rest, right?
Yep.
That's the Paragon, because that's the kind of people that people end up wanting to lead, even if they're not good people necessarily.
Right, because they want to be the person that can feel the wave of inspiration to jump on their wave, if you will, towards whatever their goal or dream is, which hopefully it's something that you're in alignment with. And if it is, it's like this trifecta of just everything just works out in a way. It's wonderful. Oh, the Bloody Baron from The Witcher 3. Oh, so a wonderfully flawed character. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm not going to go into more than that.
Yeah.
Kira Yoshikage, sure.
Space Dandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Space Dandy is a Paragon in a weird way.
But it's hard to put any intent behind
Dandy. Definitely. He has figured out how to have nothing figured out. And because of the universe that he's in, it kind of works out, and it can actually be a Paragon-y kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. An MHA, Paragon, and Hero are very similar. Yep, that's true. That's true. The Tooth Fairy from Red Dragon. What's Red Dragon?
I don't know.
What's Red Dragon? Classified.
Red Dragon sends his regards.
Light from Death Note, maybe. Is this a character with flaws that you really like, Casual? Huh. Oh, made you. I love it. Wow. I'm not even going to read it out, but that was just fun to read. How about this nifty story about a kid who was a bully? Had a contradictory name, like a vocal silence or something.
Okay, so
there you go.
All right,
there you go.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, because that is
sounds like something you'd watch a bunch of.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like something I'd appreciate. A Silent Voice. If you haven't seen it, watch it. In the US, it's on Netflix and it's amazing.
Yep.
So he starts out as very much the sort of villain protagonist Paragon kind of a thing, right? He spearheads all of that stuff, right? And then it switches. And after that point, I don't think he really fits into the Paragon necessarily, but
he was a Paragon in that he inspired other people to be bullies?
Yeah, basically.
I mean, I don't think he was really.
I mean, maybe that's Paragon isn't quite the. That's
I don't
too
think
strong
that's the right
word for that.
Yeah,
but like, and yeah. So I don't know if it necessarily fits there because it definitely is a great character journey. But as far as like Paragon, I don't.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Simone Kamina Gurren Lagann combo. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So so the thing with Kamina, and this is probably the thing that I think people have wizened up to this with regards to Kamina, and this is actually really cool, is that Kamina is not really a Paragon. And this is probably one of the things I think is genius about his character. When we finally get the internal perspective from him, he's a fraud.
Yeah.
He's an absolute total fraud.
And in some ways that makes him the best Paragon.
It makes him the best Paragon.
Because he is very much a person that is trying to put on that mantle, don the cape of fire,
he's faking it.
Totally faking it. Yeah.
But that's the thing I think that makes him wonderful, is that when Kamina thinks about why he's doing this, he's absolutely doing it in the same motivation of a Paragon.
Right.
He wants Simone to be that person naturally. He doesn't want him to have to put on airs or anything like that. When Kamina...
That's wonderful.
You know, when we get to the end of the story, I'll just say that. When we get to the end of the story...
And they have that conversation.
They have that conversation with Kamina and Simone. You then see really why this story had to go this way. It was very important that Simone goes way beyond Kamina. Because Kamina was not the ideal. What Kamina projected was a taste of the ideal.
He was someone who believed in the ideal. And because of that...
he believed in the ideal.
No, straight up. Straight up. There are so many lines in anime where it's like, you say the line and it's like, that is a stupid line. And I'm like, no, that is a genius line, and not just in the sort of generic make you feel good kind of genius, right? Because that's what Kamina did, right? He embodied it and everything, even though he didn't believe in it himself. And as a result of that, other people around him, not just Simone, but humanity was able to then believe in that.
Yeah, it's something that I feel like that nature isn't usually that attractive. So I'm gonna
no one would like Kamina if he was actually like...
because Kamina wouldn't be that effective. The story, this is something I think needs to be really brought up. The story is written in such a way to make Kamina really successful.
Because it's Trigger, and you can have punching through dimensions.
Gynax at the time, but the Trigger people, If we had Kamina in real life, he would probably be like a naked guy on the streets, like screaming, like actually really wholesome things.
Basically.
And you wouldn't really follow him. You would listen to what he said and go, wait, what? That was actually kind of wise. And then you look to see who said it and you go, or I don't know.
You'd listen to it and be like, that's stupid. And then like 5 years later,
you'd be like, wait a minute.
Hold on. Maybe, where's that guy? Oh, he's in a padded cell somewhere. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was,
Some random thought I had just about the idea that Kamina as a character is one that I think people latched on a little bit to because it's attractive and fun.
Well, we latched on Paragon. We latched onto the idea rather than actually what we saw.
What Kamina as a character actually was. Yeah. Anyway. Goldie Roger. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Even the way he died, like that was very much his kind of thing of like, go.
Yep.
And he set a whole bunch of dreams in motion by doing that. So yeah, that's a very good. We don't really know too much about Goldie Roger, but what we do know, yeah, he definitely has that element. Yeah. Mesker 1 with the 19 months of Twitch Prime. Oh, and speaking of frauds, Crollo fits that bill as he seems like a paragon for something that only the spiders understand. But what is that? It's kept a complete mystery, and that feels pretty dang unique. Common theory is that he doesn't know himself.
I could definitely
buy that. Yeah, I think
after all, isn't he canonically only 19 or something?
I think he's canonically over 20. I don't think he's 19. That feels a little bit too young. But no, I think I heard from somewhere that he's like 23 or something like that. He's actually like really young. But yeah.
What are you talking about? That's ancient in anime. Yeah. 23 years old.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Crollo, Sephiroth, they're the same age or something. I don't know. I don't even know what Sephiroth is, really. But yeah, I think what Crollo...
26, oh, okay.
Right, but that's also probably current with the manga, right? So when we see him, he might be a lot younger for all we know. But I think what's cool with Crollo is that his whole thing that he maybe inspired people with when we saw him kind of realized as the leader was that the spider must survive. We saw him basically wanting the best for the family. And then what does it's like saying, what does the spider represent? It's like saying, what does a family represent? It's like, I don't know. A lot of things. Yeah, that's the point. I think that's where you're right in that Crollo doesn't necessarily have something he could encapsulate in a catchphrase that would be marketable and stuff to bring in more people to the spiders. It's just people encounter the spiders probably and then they're strong and the spiders are like, hey, we have an open slot because one of the Zoldyks recently, like killed one of us or something. I don't know. And then it's like, hey... You ever been a part of a criminal family, Indeed. But not a mafia. We're not a mafia. No, we're much cooler than that.
Yeah.
Is Speedwagon a paragon?
I would say, okay.
I think we all want him to be a paragon.
We want him to be a paragon because we would all want a Speedwagon, but really I feel like he's a not Iroh. Kind of. Like
is he even a character though? Like Speedwagon is
totally a bro.
Speedwagon is just a bro. There you go. I don't know what Speedwagon is. Oh my god. A paragon of memes. Oh my gosh. Are there only 40-something chapters after you guys finished Hunter x Hunter? Let's just say not a lot of time has passed. Oh, gotcha. The whole age thing with Crollo. Gotcha. Aragi's and his sisters with their extreme sense of justice. Well, that's part of the things of why the sisters are calling themselves the Fire Sisters and stuff. They are, in a kind of Kamina type way, maybe, trying to put on we are the Fire Sisters of Justice,
That's right.
And Aragi kind of laughs at them a little bit, but he also is kind of like, go, you go, have a good time.
And he used to be a lot like that, and maybe them doing this is also a way of trying to remind him of what he once believed in.
Paragon lost.
Yeah. Hey, it's a good thing if you can do that in stories and sell it. It's wonderful.
Pretty good. Speedwagon is a paragon of life for me. There you go. Oh yeah, the whole teachers things with Onizuka and Koro Sensei. Well,
yes, totally.
So Onizuka, in function, is like exactly that. Like he's very much that.
Yep.
The thing is that he also reminds us that the Paragon doesn't necessarily have to embody a lot of the things that they.
Well, he's a paragon for certain things and not necessarily others.
Right.
You know,
there you go. Yeah. For sure.
So Muzan from Demon Slayer, from what we've seen so far, I wouldn't call him a paragon because he's
making a lot of slaves, if anything.
He's right. Yeah, he's making slaves. He's a power ceiling for sure, and he has an objective, but it's not about building others up. In my mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. Let's see. A couple people just bringing things up, though. Yeah. Griffith is a subversion of a paragon, with being a false paragon, being literally like a white light, but with a huge shadow behind him. All of Falconia trusts him, but it's all a front.
Right.
So yeah. And one of the things that's, I would say, rather important to note about, I would say, a true paragon is that we know their intent.
Sure.
Griffith has the results of a paragon.
Right.
But the intent is a little bit sinister.
We know that his intent is to build the image of a paragon.
Right.
So
that might be why I wanted to draw the thing about Kamina out, is that his intent is one that is a front. It is a front. He is trying to build the nature of what makes a paragon, but he does not live for that. He's scared. He doesn't want to do it all the time.
Right. With Griffith, it seems more like he's doing that in order to get people to go along with what he wants.
Yeah, for sure. All Might is, funnily enough, similar to Kamina, a bunch of false bravados driven to fake it for the lie's own sake.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's one of the things that makes All Might way more interesting than if he just actually was All Might 24/7.
Exactly. I think that the choice to have All Might's form be revealed immediately in the show, rather than have it be some twist later.
Oh yeah, that
was genius.
That would have been so awful.
It's probably also part of the selling point of MHAs. What if
everything
Superman,
really
Captain America, big guy came up to you and revealed that he was actually a frail old guy, just putting on airs, trying to figure it out because he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's kind of lost, and then this kid inspires him, and then he puts on his whole thing, and then they end up becoming like kind of mentor, student, Jedi Master, Jedi Apprentice, and he helps, give him his power, and there's some good stuff there. Paul Atreides as a Nishan higher man.
Kill la Kill characters. So like I
love Kill la Kill.
I could see Satsuki maybe being a paragon, kind of, because it is very much about inspiring the other people around her, and yet it is also very much a thing of, paragons don't necessarily have to not be controlling, but there has to be something along with it.
Well, right. I think the difference is that when we talk about what's definitively not a paragon, like definitively not, it really can go down like a little bit, I would say, to their intent, but you can't argue with the results. I haven't found it to see what it would be, like the classification of this, but there are so many characters in fiction that are accidental paragons for others, which means, in my opinion, that paragons are very much based on the perception of the person that they're a paragon for.
You know who I would say is a paragon? And this is great because it's in a story where there's the paragon of power, right? The power ceiling, but then there's the actual paragon of the show. And that's Kamen Rider from... or Moomin Rider, from One Punch Man.
I mean, he is based off of Kamen Rider.
He's based off of Kamen Rider. But in the story, because Saitama is the one that has all the power, right? But he's not the Paragon, right? Nope. Nobody looks up to him, things like that, right? They don't even think that he has that kind of power for a lot of the time, right?
Yeah.
But Moomin Rider, he's the Paragon.
He doesn't actually inspire too many people, though.
Well, hey,
he inspires some.
He inspired that little girl. She said, "Moomin Rider, don't give up." And damn it,
yeah, I know. No, I know.
He might not be a super effective.
That's
Paragon
my point
because he doesn't have powers.
That's my point.
But he is definitely a Paragon.
Yes. You can be someone that is a Paragon, but not necessarily crazy effective at it, because Moomin Rider doesn't have crazy levels of charisma necessarily. He has a lot of things going.
Little boy.
For him.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, he's a great example of that as well, especially in intent, for sure. Moomin Rider inspires the viewers. Yeah, he breaks through the screen to
with
tomorrow.
his bicycle. Yeah.
Yep, Justice Crash. Oh, my God. Blind Man V2, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Thank you.
But Saitama is the Paragon to Moomin Rider. Well, that's why it's important, because in my mind, the whole message of that, right, is that even though Moomin Rider was being the Paragon for the people and Saitama wasn't, it's still something where even though Saitama is all depressed and, okay, whatever, this is fine. Nah. You weren't even intending to, and that's why I don't think Saitama is a Paragon, but still.
Yeah.
You affected Moomin Rider like that. Right?
Yeah.
And yes, he sends him the fan letter.
That's good stuff. I have not... Okay, so, Classified... I am one of those people that didn't really like Dune.
I read the first 20 pages, I think, and was like, this is too slow, dry, whatever for me.
Yeah, I barely remember when I picked up Dune, but I had one of those things where I read a ton of it really quickly, 75 pages or so.
And burned out
really quickly. Just so it's a weird one for me. I, though, love the idea of a Dune duo movie setup like they're doing. So I hope that they do that really well, and they've got Oscar Isaac involved in that, so that should be good. And it's also the same guy directing it that's been doing the really good sci-fis recently, like Blade Runner 2049 or 2047, and then Arrival as well.
Right, and those were both awesome.
Those were both just stellar movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, okay. What about questions on
just stuff in general?
In general, doesn't have to be related to the whole Paragon talk or waifus or anything like that. What would you guys like to ask us?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Blind Man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Marim, we actually talked about Peter Parker as a Paragon in interesting ways. Well, but yeah, Into the Spider-Verse, there's some pretty cool stuff there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh my God! Yeah, Trigger doing a cyberpunk anime.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
I am so excited for that.
Really excited. I've already got the game pre-ordered. I'm already psyched out of my mind. I've already been looking at if I need to update my graphics card or something like that. I'm watching all the YouTube videos on Cyberpunk. I'm freaking hyped, not only about the game, but the fact that Trigger is no big deal. Well, we'll do an anime, and that could be cool.
I'm just straight up so excited because Trigger, I feel like out of all the anime studios out there, other than maybe Ghibli, Trigger nailed the idea of the brand for the studio. Right?
Oh,
where even people that
a lot of it's original.
Because a lot of it's original, but even people that don't, that probably does have a lot to do with it.
Because most studios don't have that brand unless they've been in the biz for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Long time.
Even amongst people that aren't really hardcore anime fans, a lot of them will know about Studio Trigger, right?
Sure.
They'll be like, oh yeah, there's a new Trigger movie or whatever. I name drop KyoAni or Madhouse or anything like that, and they'll be like, oh, what? But
that's an anime only kind of thing specifically, yeah.
And so the idea that Studio Trigger is working on one of the most anticipated AAA games out there, well,
they're not working on the game.
No, I know, right. But alongside it, an anime to help market, the game and all that stuff,
Although it's coming out way later than the game.
Yeah. Yeah, but still, I am so excited because that's even more of anime kind of becoming mainstream or whatever, or finding a place where the studios for the companies that are making these games and they're putting a ton of money into them are recognizing that, anime, people are into anime. And money talks. So if the money's going that way, then
Yeah, Trigger is more well known, Ron-san, to people that don't watch anime, is what we're talking about.
Right.
Kyo Annie, or however you want to say it, no one that doesn't watch anime knows who they are.
Right. They might remember, like, oh, was that the thing with the fire or whatever that I heard people talking about? But that'd be about it.
Yeah, but it's partially in some ways because of the branding. When you think of Kyoto Annie, we kind of know, like, like really pretty stuff.
Yeah,
like,
and just relaxing and you know, cute girls and things like that.
But Trigger, that's really easy to say and remember. And they've only made a few things, and they're very bombastic and memorable. Someone mentioned JoJo manga reactions, so we're just going to say no. No JoJo manga reactions. ReZero season 2 on a poll later or not? It'll be on a poll later, probably. Yeah. Yeah, good one.
Any recently released anime catch your attention? Well,
Kakushigoto.
Yeah, Kakushigoto.
That was on a poll recently. Yeah. That was one that came quite quickly up to our ooh, we're interested in that.
And Keep Your Hands Off Aizoken is replacing Dr. Stone.
Yes.
So, you know, yeah.
Aloe Swear with the 14 months of Twitch Prime, feels Jacob, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
Doro Hedoro is one that I'm more excited for. I don't think Jacob's necessarily heard as much positive
I need to be
stuff
sold on
about
that one still. Yeah.
The God of High School, haven't really heard anything specific on that one. Caleb, you were going to be playing it on stream, right? You're talking about Cyberpunk 2077? Yes, I will be. What about you, Jacob? Are you going to be playing on stream as well or on your own?
I'm not entirely sure yet.
It depends, really.
But given how long it'll probably take Caleb to go through Dark Souls, you know, maybe that'll be I can cut in front of him in line or something.
That could be interesting. I have also already told everyone that I will immediately drop Dark Souls for Cyberpunk 2077. And it has nothing to do with Salt. It will be a thing of where, no, I'll keep playing until Cyberpunk 2077 comes out.
Right.
And the only thing that would...
Everything else, stop.
Yeah, the only thing that would really stop me from doing that is if my computer couldn't handle it.
Whoa, the Haikyuu manga is ending in 2 chapters?
I have to talk to my Haikyuu people because I haven't heard anything about that. So that feels a little bit like, wait, really? Like, I believe you, but I haven't seen you in chat much, so I'm curious about that. Centipede Senpai with the 100 bits. God of High School is as hyped as Tower of God.
What is it with God being in the title of an anime and it being hyped up?
Okay, interesting. The Haikyuu thing is a rumor. Yeah, that might make sense, but yeah. Told you that Haikyuu was ending a bit ago. Also, when is Dark Souls starting? Dark Souls will be starting soon. I think we've confirmed. I'm trying to remember because we had to skip last week's stream. I think we confirmed that it's 2 Fridays from now. Guaranteed. Yeah, because I said it would either be 3 or 2, which means it was 3 because we skipped last week. So yeah, just one more stream of Monster Train this Friday and Dark Souls the next Friday after that. So get hyped for, what would that be? What day of the week would that be? That would be the 17th of July.
Okay.
I plunge into the souls of darkness. Oh yeah. That's just manhwa in a nutshell about gods and stuff. Oh, wait, so Tower of God and Gods of High School are both manhwa?
Huh.
That's interesting. Next Haikyuu chapters are going to be longer, and it's very much almost ending, but there is no confirmation of when it will end, so nothing official yet. Okay,
gotcha.
But it is something where it could feel like it's about to end. That's pretty exciting, though. I love hearing about manga ending, and people are getting hyped about it, because one of the things that is very rare for anime is that they don't actually end. It's just go read the manga.
Right.
And as anime in some ways has just gotten better and better and better, we're getting anime that just go all the way and do the actual adaptation to the fullest, which is wonderful. You hate hear about manga ending? Okay. I mean, teach their own, yeah. They're both published by the Webtoons app, who partnered with Crunchyroll to adapt 4 very popular manhwa into anime.
Oh, nice.
That's good to hear. I love hearing like more kind of just general industry news about partnerships and things like that.
Tomorrow is the One Piece 1-year anniversary for manga readings.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it?
Is it, though? Because didn't we have a 1 week break?
I think so, and I think
don't remember.
Because we did 49.
Maybe it's just that we're
Did we do 49 or 50 last week?
We did 49.
Yes, it would be 50. So then if we had another 1 week break other than this last
So then it would be, 2
weeks.
Oh my god, a year.
A
year of One
One
Piece.
Piece.
Whoa. Any old classic anime that we're eyeing? Yeah.
For reaction specifically.
Yeah, I've got a few, but they're more like things that I don't know. It's weird to talk about them because it's probably going to be a while before any of them get reacted to. So I don't want people to feel like, like, why aren't you putting that up there if you want it to be reacted to? I feel like in general, we can only really, within a semblance of sanity, have so many older anime that we're reacting to at the same time.
Yeah, like Legend of the Galactic Heroes was the big one.
It was the big one, yeah.
And now we're watching that at the same time as also Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah, Hajime no Ippo is not that old, though.
Isn't it?
Nah. Oh. I'm talking like pre-95, you know.
Sure, or at the very least before 2000, because I think Ippo started in like early 2000s or something.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Like Ippo's like 99, or it's like 99 to like 2005 or something.
Yeah, somewhere
like
around there.
It's that whole area there or something. Ippo was 2001. There you go.
Okay.
You'll go back to Dark Souls once you finish Cyberpunk, right? Oh yeah. Like I wouldn't quit Dark Souls. Womp womp, and then it would show like what actually happened. It's like, Caleb said he wouldn't quit Dark Souls. The only thing I haven't guaranteed to do right now is Dark Souls 2, because I've heard Dark Souls 2 just isn't as fun as the other two games. So, yeah. We do another waifu review. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Sakurai being afraid of talking about what games he's playing because he knows people will jump to asking when characters from that game will go in Smash. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can imagine that would be an issue.
That whole community terrifies me. Have you thought of a theme for the JoJo replacement poll? Maybe.
I would expect nothing less, Lunar.
Lunar asking about Yu Yu Hakusho?
Yep.
I knew it. Horizon Zero Dawn coming to PC in August. You will love it, Caleb. I've looked at that and it seems interesting. I don't know if I would play the game, though, just for the sake of playing it. I have literally zero friends that have recommended Horizon Zero Dawn for me. So I'm curious why. What I'm guessing is that it's just a decent game.
Here's a question for you, Caleb. Okay.
Oh no, what is it?
In layman's terms, why are we never going to do hentai readings on the channel?
Because you guys aren't ready to get those very confused boners. Like,
the return of the Y boner with a vengeance.
It's something where if we're gonna do readings of that type, it's going to get so lewd that Jacob and I are going to want to voice act it, and it's just not fun at that point. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god, chat. I just love seeing this. Just wonderful. A lot of people are doing Yu Yu Hakusho reactions right now. Seems like a good time to do so. Interesting. Okay. I mean, you guys seem like you're barely restraining yourselves from going full lewd sometimes during reactions.
I'm just saying, a pea shower would have worked on Crocodile. It would have worked.
Hey, Zenobite Senpai with the 100 bits. So I've started playing Witcher 3, and I recently beat it, and I was going to watch you play it, but all I can find is the expansion gameplay. Do you have the main story gameplay? No.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I don't have it. I am sorry.
Yep. Gamo gamo no hose. Yep. Just saying.
Yeah, big sad. Someone was mentioning Run with the Wind, and I have to respond to it because that's probably one of my biggest things I want to see these days. Whispers in your ear, run with the wind. It's funny because it took me this long to bring it up, but the fact that you worded it as whispers in your ear, like it's like Caleb's like, I have to mention it. I have to bring it up.
You would not believe just how many times Caleb's been like, Jacob, run with the wind. And I'm like, but after Epo, he's like, but that'll take a while. Run with the wind.
Like, I want it. I want it. There was a disturbance in the force. It was quite effective too. There was a disturbance in the wind, and I just wanted to run along with it.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
Run with the wind. Feels good to say. It does, doesn't it? I just want you guys to watch hentai so you can analyze the plots seriously. Mesker, I love your choice of words, but the thing is that wouldn't we just like end up just cutting out like literally all the plot, and then we just discuss it, and you'd be like, but I wanted reactions to the plot.
No, what it would be is it would be the whole thing where you cut the show footage and then you just show us being like, I see. Okay.
What would be really funny is an anti-reaction series to hentai where the whole point of it is just to go, clearly, indeed. Fully timer.
Dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. It's voice acting. The levels of cringe that went into this. It's quite
truly cultured. Only the best of dubs.
But I mean, like, not even sarcastically, just like trying to do it as straight faced as possible, and just like, you know, how long could we go? Oh my god, I was meaning to be like,
I actually
could we do it without breaking? There's so many euphemisms to what I'm saying. I'm just trying to.
I actually think we could give some halfway decent discussion on hentai. Maybe I'm just being arrogant here, but I think we could kind of do it.
The next evolution of anime reaction channels.
Hentai reaction.
Is you just react to hentai. What were the people that were like, the next evolution of anime reaction channels is you react to One Piece anime in like a month. I remember
it's at 1.2 speed.
No. I remember someone was being like, dude, there's all these people now doing One Piece anime reactions and they're making tons of money. You guys should do it. I'm like, no, are you crazy? Like, there's no way in hell we would do that. No. And we're not reacting to Naruto, and we're not reacting to like long-running shonen. What's the other recent long-running shonen?
Oh, Black Clover.
Black Clover. We're not reacting to Black Clover. And
yes, Mesker. Jacob going, you know, the trope of doing X move is so common, but here it's done really well.
And here's the thing, Jacob. You know?
No, there's the thing.
Oh no, there is the thing. And then it's in, then it's out. And
sounds bad for your health, and I like One Piece. Yeah. I had to explain to somebody that is a huge fan of One Piece why I was reading the manga, and he's like, no, how could you? No. And he's like, you're not getting the music and the voices, and I'm like, but like, it does such a good job of like laying out everything, and it's wonderful.
Bro, have you heard my brother's Wanzai voice? Like, you're missing out. You're missing out.
Oh man.
Oh, you missed your bits? Oh, sorry, CC. Let me check this out. 100 bits. When are you guys playing a game together again? If you guys have no idea of what to play, I would recommend To the Moon. It is a short game that is loved for its story with two main characters. You can both voice a bit visual novel-like, I guess. Thank you for the bits.
Yeah, thank you.
So I would say in general that the next time we do a game together will probably be one where our schedules kind of deviate a little bit from the norm.
Yep.
And we either like add in a new like Twitch stream day, or like we both conveniently end a game around the same time.
Sure.
And there's also a game that we really want to play co-op.
And it's easiest to do it for things like visual novels, like Doki Doki, for instance, because our setup wasn't really set up properly for like when we did Divinity Original Sin 2, even though that was a ton of fun. And we would want it to be a game where it works well as a multiplayer game.
Exactly.
Or it's just voicing.
Yeah, Jacob. Counter argument. Our voices made the widely hated Wanzai and Satori fun.
I mean...
Hey, Gooey, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub for 21 months.
Wait, Satori? You mean Hattori?
Oh, yeah, Hattori. Hattori,
Wait, Satori.
Yeah, Satori. I'm trying to think. Like, wait, who is Satori?
Was he the Shakespearean guy?
Oh, right. No, that was Kumadori.
No, yeah, that was Kumadori. Wait, Satori. Wait, was he the big ball guy in Skypiea?
Oh, yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, he's the ball guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, I still didn't like him though. Your voice for him was fun.
Thank you.
But I did not like Satori.
Yeah, no, he was not one of the best.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, no, the fandom loves Hattori. Satori is the ball sky priest. Yep.
Oh, not a question, but these B-Stars reaction discussions are quite amazing. Guys, you know what I feel really bad for? Is that we took this long to watch B-Stars.
I know, right?
Y'all, B-Stars is... it's so good.
There are so many times when,
it's so good.
When, we'll have people say to us, you should watch insert show.
Right.
It's totally suited for your guys' discussion style and things like that and whatnot.
We hope they're right.
And we hope they're right.
We hope that they're right.
The problem is...
Not all shows are like that.
Not all shows are like that.
No.
And they totally mean they're the best because they really like our discussion, so they want to see us discuss something that they really like. And not that we wouldn't like it or anything, but having something that is that I'm so glad we're watching.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's so good.
I can't thank you all enough for pushing for B-Stars because I'm trying to remember what it lost to in the first play. It might have been Vinland Saga.
I can't remember.
I think it was Vinland Saga. I'm not sure.
I could see that. Yeah.
Wait, I actually have literally the ability right here to go and look.
Oh, you have it
I literally have the thing here for it here. So let me Control F some B-Stars here. What? Come on, Control F. Dang it. Work with me here.
Okay.
So B-Stars lost to Dr. Stone at one point, but it also lost to
Ass Class.
No. That was what it got combined with.
Oh, right. Duh.
Oh, so it just lost to Dr. Stone then.
Oh, wow.
Okay, cool. So it didn't actually require that much in there. So yeah, it was just Dr. Stone, yeah.
Yeah.
People saying Gintama. Chill, guys. The issue with Gintama is not whether or not we think we would like it.
It's just
the fact that
we're
it's
never
300 plus episodes.
Yeah.
No, Caleb has to wait for a run with the wind. Yeah. I've talked about running in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most I actually talk about it is in Haikyuu and After the Rain. I don't think there's any other anime that brings up the aspect
After the Rain
running.
really gets into running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's something special about it that
Well, thanks, Cross MC. I really like how this turned out. The hair that is was a long time needed.
Yeah, he's got a sweet cut now.
You would not have wanted to see what was actually underneath
the
hats all those times.
Yeah. I mean, when you're in a situation where it's not feasible to get your hair cut in a way that is even legitimately good,
right?
It's you're why bother? I'm just gonna wear a hat.
Yeah, might as well suffer through it anyway, since I'm going to have to.
But hey, the hat in some ways forced you to figure out a way in which you could get your hair cut. So
that was one of the things that I had always wanted to do. I'd always wanted to get my hair a bit longer without going through that weird awkward stage of your hair growing out a little bit, and now I think it's kind of at that point.
Yeah. Oh, Dr. Stone was... loved Dr. Stone.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Stone really grew on me over time. But I think we got at the core of Dr. Stone once we focused on the astronauts. That was when, in some ways, the art of Dr. Stone came out, if you will, within the story. Was the wonder and beauty of this world.
Right. I feel like
celebrating it.
We got it with points before then, but not to the same degree. Dr. Stone Stone is probably the one that I had the most different expectations about what it would be like versus how I ended up enjoying it,
Yeah, Dr. Stone is just a celebration of humanity's achievements. Yep.
And here I thought it was going to be just some sort of Minecraft survival game or whatever, but it's totally different.
And what I love so much about it was the mangaka knew how powerful that stuff with the astronauts was with Byakuya and all that. Because then at the end of this season, that's when we get the message in a bottle. I mean, you guys that aren't on early access haven't seen our reactions to it, but the finale to Dr. Stone season 1 is
absolutely wonderful.
Oh, so good.
Oh, yeah.
It's brilliant.
Man, thank you for bringing that back up, Mesker. We had some pretty great spot-on theories about Senku at the beginning.
Yeah. The weird thing about those theories is that the show was a different show, though. It was at that a different time.
Show. Like we definitely held on to them way too much. You know? But yeah,
there's some cringe theories back then for sure. Yep. Let me see. Bleach final season next year. You know, watch Studio Pierrot just do a really good job on like 5 different fight scenes. So like watch 2020 animation come in clutch on like a Zaraki Kenpachi fight, and the internet loses their freaking mind. So I don't think it's actually going to be like necessarily great or anything.
I don't think it will be either. But that being said, it's a big but, right? One of my favorite things for anime to do, because they're created from original material, is that you can see how people respond to the original material.
Sure.
That, like, no duh, right? That's very helpful from the production side of things. You can test different ideas that you've already seen have worked, but that also comes in different angles where you can see when something fails, right?
Yeah, that's true.
The final arc of Bleach failed. Right? Like, Bleach was already kind of failing up until that time.
Are you talking about in the anime or the manga?
Both.
Oh, okay, because I know this much about the
manga?
final manga arc. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's mostly Kenpachi stuff.
Right. The Kenpachi stuff is actually probably the best part about it.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's just power fantasy tripping?
Well, it kind of, but it's because it's sort of owning that that's what Kenpachi's about. So it's
sure.
So since Bleach usually focused too much on the fights, if you have someone that's just about the fights and doing cool stuff there, then great. You know, you don't really need to do anything different. But what I'm hoping is that with this season, I'm not exactly sure how they'll be able to do it, because all the stuff still has to end a certain way unless they completely do an anime original ending. They can smooth out some of those issues that there were by adding in characterization here and there, and maybe this is just a pipe dream, right? But because the groundwork for those kinds of shonens has changed a lot recently, I'm hoping that they'll realize that, they'll be aware of it, and basically say this source material needs to get updated to fit the times a bit.
Oh.
Maybe not completely.
Cool.
But then we'll be able to get to see a bit of a new experience.
Well, someone said, and Warforged Games said this, is that great part of 2021 Bleach is Kubo is involved. So Kubo can add where he wants.
Yes.
That could be really good, because Kubo's a good artist. So he's got the capacity to do that kind of stuff. So what I'm getting at is that Jacob is asking for filler. Yes. Probably.
No,
Jacob likes Bleach filler.
No, yeah, I do like Bleach filler. Yeah. Weirdly enough, like, because after the Soul Society arc, you know, that was when it kind of went downhill. But there were actually some legit good bits of filler that helped with characterization. The Bount arc, as far as filler goes, not good.
No.
But what it does do is it actually gives build-up for Ichigo to struggle with his inner hollow, so that when it becomes a major plot point in the next canon arc, it actually makes sense. It's not just, hey, you had this random thing happen the one time, pretty much, and now it's going to be a big plot point. It's no, let's let it stew. Or episode 342, where Ichigo actually has to grapple with the fact, after a whole arc where he's been grappling with the fact that his powers are going away, now Rukia disappears from in front of him, and after that whole thing, it was wonderful.
Yeah. We got some bits from Centipede Senpai. How did you guys like Demon Slayer overall? I would love to see you guys have a podcast talking about it. So, here's the thing. We're not going to do a podcast on Demon Slayer.
Nope.
There's not really that much to talk about.
Right.
That doesn't mean we didn't like it.
Yep. It was a lot of fun.
It's just a lot of fun, and there's not really as much to talk about.
Demon Slayer, I feel like, is a very simple story, and a lot of the things that it does are really good, but because it's not complicated, it's kind of hard to justify doing like a 2-hour segment potentially talking about it.
Yeah.
Beyond, in addition to the discussion that was already done for the series episode by episode.
And in some ways, actually, the kind of people that would have more to say about Demon Slayer are the actual people that know a lot about the anime production side of things, which we're learning a little bit about with Aizoken, which will be very fun for you guys to get to see those reactions to that.
Yeah.
How are you guys feeling about it inevitably finishing JoJo soon?
I'm in denial. Not thinking about it.
End of an era.
Yep.
Cool. Let me see, blah, 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 blah. We got a couple of things here. Missed. Yeah. Oh, like you guys were saying about Kaguya, how it totally keeps getting better. Yeah, you were right about Kaguya. Kaguya is one of the best things anime-wise out right now. It's really good. I mean, we're not watching that much anime, so I'm just assuming, but it is that good. It is crazy. Literally the whole final arc of Bleach is, will Aizen get up out of his seat? Wait, Aizen?
Yeah.
Aizen?
Because he's locked up.
He's sealed.
Right.
But Aizen is involved in the final arc of Bleach?
It's basically this big conversation of like, if everything just really goes to hell in a handbasket, do we unlock Aizen, the person who almost destroyed us, because...
To save us?
To save us.
Well, that actually sounds kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, you know what's also, this is how you know that some of the filler arcs of Bleach were actually pretty good, is that Kubo ripped off the filler for plot points in the actual canon anime. You remember the Zanpakuto arc?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's legit. They legit have a thing where I can't remember because it was forever ago, but it's where like they seal away their Bankais or something in the actual canon final arc. Like,
that's true. Oh man, I watched all of Bleach's filler. I watched all of it, y'all.
Oh, that's right. And then you helped guide me past some of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will never forget the trauma of Bleach. Oh man. Okay. I think we're about done to wrap this up here.
Mm-hmm.
Zexzel, sorry, I missed your question the first time. That's right. We got a new place for recording and setup and everything. That's why we needed to take a week off. We were moving. So that is like 95% done. We don't have internet yet, though, so we can't fully move yet.
Fingers crossed that Xfinity is fully helpful.
Yes. Guys, that would be wrong of us. No, never mind. No, shut up. No, Caleb, I sometimes need to talk to myself in third person because I have an idea that's just no. Don't do that. Don't. Yeah. Never mind. I don't even want to say what it was because then you guys might actually. Yeah. Anyway.
Thoughts and expectations on Attack on Titan season 4. So I am a little bit nervous because it's changed in studio, but I'm also incredibly excited because this is Attack on freaking Titan, and they're going to pull out all the stops to get all the best people they can for it and stuff. So
it'll be fine.
I think it's going to be awesome. And based on how the manga's been, it's going to be great.
I'm just really excited that we are actually getting an ending to Attack on Titan.
I know, right? We're in that world line now.
I'm still in a debate about whether or not Attack on Titan is going to go full Ava or just full depression, which is very different things.
Why not both?
No, literally. Like,
oh man. But think about this for a second. Okay, it's 2020 right now.
Wow.
We had to wait until 2017 in order to get season 2 of Attack on Titan.
It's true.
I have had season 1 of Attack on Titan for the same amount of time that I've had not season 1 of Attack on Titan.
Whoa.
So the idea that we are getting the final season of Attack on Titan still doesn't really register for me. Because there's this not small part of my brain that's like, Attack on Titan only has 1 season. What are you talking about? It's only ever going to have 1 season, right?
Right.
So...
yeah. But there you have it, y'all. Thank you so much for joining in on the podcast here. This is a lot of fun. There's a lot of you guys in here too.
Yep.
And glad to hang out and do this again.
I hope we were able to help bring you some insight as far as the whole nature of what Paragon means and the death of the Paragon and how that pertains to waifus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waifu culture, y'all.
Yep. It's powerful.
Simp for a good Paragon. just a good one.
Or for a not good Paragon. Chica exists, you know?
I mean, some of us, just by nature of statistics, are trash. So therefore, our trash taste should go in the trash.
Yeah. Yes. And I wrote a novel called Battle Lines. It's really cool. And it has a Paragon villain. That's
Yes, y'all. One Piece is tomorrow. So that, guys, we do a bunch of other streams. We do 2 gaming streams and 2 discussion streams. One's the podcast, one's on Mondays. All these are at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On Tuesdays, we do One Piece. We do dramatic manga readings, 1 volume per week. They're really fun,
voices and
really crazy.
Oh yeah,
we're going to be doing volume 50.
We're
tomorrow.
Just about wrapped up with Thriller Bark. I'm going to have to get back into that gurgly deep.
Voice.
No, not anymore.
Oh,
not anymore.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Because yes, indeed. And then on Thursdays, Jacob does his gaming stream.
That's right, which is going to be the finale, Chapter 5 of The Wolf Among Us, Telltale's hit game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. And then on Fridays, I will be doing my finale stream, I guess, also of Monster Train. Monster Train is a roguelike game that's very Slay the Spire-like. It's very, very fun. I'm very addicted to it. Logged in plenty of hours off stream as well. So, stay tuned for also the next week after that when I will start Dark Souls. Yeah. I've never played a Souls-like game. I've never played in some ways even a really hard difficulty, video game ever either. So it will be interesting. I am
very interested in that, Lunar. Yes. As far as actually doing it on stream, I don't know, but I'm so down for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Background Chan be in the new set? Probably not. Depends.
Really?
Depends.
We need to talk about this.
It depends,
Yeah, yes.
Because there's ways we can do it without it.
I know.
Yeah.
We can actually do that now. We can be like everybody else. No.
What's that supposed to mean? But anyhow, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.
Oh boy. Background Chan is like the Going Merry. Really? Background Chan kind of is. I feel like we'd need to do a funeral.
We'd burn Background Chan?
Material might not be safe for burning. I don't know.
No, probably not.
Yeah. But I mean,
she has carried us all this way.
She really has.
Wow, it really is very much like the Going Merry. Dude, that's too lewd for. We only do that off stream.
We need to censor that.
Yeah. God, man, calm down.
Oh man.
Keep Background Chan for at least one kind of content.
Sure.
That's actually a good idea
for the throwbacks when it's like, all right, we're bringing out Background Chan. Yep.
And we'll get to show you guys the transformation sequence that Background Chan gets to go into. It's quite dramatic. It's very much like the transformation sequence, with...
yeah, for the one character near the very